I've never told anyone this before, not even my therapist, but I can't keep it bottled up anymore. This happened when I was 14, living with my parents and younger sister in a creaky old house in rural Vermont. It was supposed to be our fresh start after Dad's layoff, but something in that attic made sure we'd never feel at home. I'm 22 now, living halfway across the country, but I still wake up hearing it sometimes. Here's what went down. We moved into the house in June, a 2-story fixer-upper with peeling paint and a steep roof. It was cheap, too cheap, Mom said, but Dad insisted it was perfect. My sister, Lily, was 10 and hated it immediately, said it smelled like wet socks. I didn't care much, I was just glad to have my own room. The attic, though, gave me the creeps from day one. It was a cramped space under the eaves, accessed by a pull-down ladder in the hall. Dad used it for storage, boxes of old tools, Christmas lights, junk from our last place. He'd go up there sometimes, muttering about organizing, but I avoided it. The air felt heavy, like it didn't want you there. First weird thing happened a month in. I was in bed, scrolling on my phone, when I heard a voice, low, muffled, like someone talking through a wall. It was coming from above, the attic. Couldn't make out words, just a steady murmur, rising and falling. I figured Dad was up there, maybe on a call, but when I checked, his bedroom door was open, and he was snoring. Lily was asleep too, and Mom was downstairs watching TV. I stood under the attic hatch, listening, and it stopped, like it knew I was there. I didn't tell anyone, didn't want to sound crazy. It kept happening, though, every few nights, always late, that same voice. Sometimes it sounded like a man, sometimes a woman, switching tones like it couldn't decide. I'd lie awake, heart pounding, trying to catch words. Once, I heard my name, Ethan, clear as day, whispered like someone was leaning over the hatch. I yanked the blankets up and didn't move till dawn. Told Mom the next day. She said it was the house settling, maybe pipes. Pipes don't whisper your name. By August, Lily started acting weird too. She'd draw these creepy pictures, stick figures with no faces, standing in a dark room with a ladder. "It's the attic," she'd say, matter of fact, like it was normal. I asked if she heard stuff. She nodded, said, "Someone's talking up there," but I don't listen. I wanted to shake her. How was she so calm? Dad brushed it off, said kids imagine things, but I caught him staring at the hatch sometimes, like he knew something. One night, I couldn't take it. The voice was louder, angrier, almost chanting. I grabbed a flashlight, crept to the hall, and pulled the ladder down, quiet, so I wouldn't wake anyone. The attic smelled like dust and rot, and the air was freezing, even though it was summer. I climbed up, beam shaking, and saw nothing but boxes and cobwebs. Then the hatch slammed shut below me. I spun around, and the voice wasn't muffled anymore. It was right there, behind me, hissing, "You shouldn't have come." No one was there, but I felt it, cold breath on my neck. I scrambled to the hatch, yanked it open, and fell down the ladder, twisting my ankle. Dad found me, pale and swearing, and dragged me to the couch. I told him everything, voice, name, breath. He didn't laugh, just locked the hatch and said we'd board it up tomorrow. We didn't talk about it again, but Lily's drawing stopped, and the voice got quieter, like it was sulking. We moved out that winter, Dad's new job, he claimed, but I think it was the house. I looked up its history later. Previous owner, some recluse named Harold Vance, died in the attic in '95, heart attack, alone, found weeks later. Neighbors said he'd scream at night, like he was arguing with someone who wasn't there. I still hear whispers sometimes, faint, calling my name. I don't answer. I've been sitting on this for years, too scared to share, but I need to know I'm not alone. This happened when I was 16, living with my mom, stepdad, and half-brother in a suburban house outside Denver. It's about a family photo, one we took for Christmas, that started showing things it shouldn't. I'm 24 now, and I can't look at pictures the same way. Here's the whole mess. We weren't big on photos. Mom hated cameras, said they made her look old, but my stepdad, Greg, insisted on a family portrait for the 2017 holiday card. We set up in the living room, me, Mom, Greg, and little Tyler, 7, all squished on the couch. Greg's friend, a wannabe photographer named Dave, took the shots with this fancy DSLR. It was awkward. Tyler kept fidgeting, Mom fake smiled. I rolled my eyes, but we got one decent picture. Dave printed it, Greg framed it, and it went on the mantle. Done deal, right? Nope. A week later, I noticed something off. I was grabbing a soda, glanced at the photo, and froze. There was a shadow behind me, not mine, not anyone's, just this blurry shape, tall and thin, like a person leaning over my shoulder. It wasn't there when we took it, I'd have noticed. I pointed it out to Mom, she squinted, said it was a smudge on the glass. I wiped the frame, clean. The shadow stayed. I started checking the photo daily, like a compulsion. Every time, it was different, subtle, but wrong. The shadow moved, behind Tyler one day, then Greg, then Mom. Sometimes it had arms, long, dangling past where they should have ended. Once, it looked like it was holding something, maybe a rope. I showed Tyler, he went quiet, said, "It's the man from my room." I laughed it off, kids, right? But my stomach churned. He'd never mentioned a man before. By January, I was obsessed. I'd sneak downstairs at night, flashlight on, staring at that frame. The shadow got clearer, details forming, like a face trying to focus. Hollow eyes, a wide mouth, no nose. I took a picture of it with my phone to prove I wasn't imagining it, but the phone shot showed nothing, just us, smiling. I asked Greg to ditch the photo, he got mad, said it was sentimental. Mom backed him up, told me to stop scaring Tyler. But Tyler wasn't scared, he'd draw that shadow, same shape, and leave the sketches under my door. One night, I couldn't sleep, kept hearing creaks, like footsteps on the stairs. Went to check the photo, and it was gone, frame empty, glass cracked on the floor. I woke everyone, panicking, but Greg swore he hadn't touched it. Tyler whispered, he took it. I didn't ask who. Next morning, the frame was back, but the photo was different, not Christmas anymore. It was us, same couch, but older, pale, eyes blank, like we were posing for a funeral. The shadow wasn't behind us, it was in us, our mouths stretched like its. I burned the photo in the backyard, frame and all. Greg yelled, Mom cried, but I didn't care. Things got quiet after. Tyler stopped drawing, no more creaks, but I found something last month, cleaning my old room. A Polaroid, tucked in my closet, me, alone, with that shadow's face over mine. I shredded it, moved out, but I see it sometimes. Reflections, mirrors, even my webcam. I don't take photos anymore. Anyone else had this? I've tried forgetting this, but it's like the house won't let me. This happened when I was 12, living with my grandparents in a small town in Georgia. I'm 20 now, on my own, but I still check every door before I sleep. It's about our basement, and what kept trying to get out. This one's long, so brace yourself. Gran and Pop bought the house in the 80s, a squat ranch with a big yard and a basement they never used. It was just storage, old furniture, canning jars, Pop's fishing gear. The door was heavy wood, painted green, with a deadbolt that stuck. They told me never to go down there, mold, they said, bad for my asthma. I listened. The door creeped me out anyway, always cold to the touch, like it was sweating. First weird thing was the knocking. Started in July, after we'd been there a year. I'd be watching cartoons, Gran cooking, Pop at work, and I'd hear it. 3 slow knocks from the basement door. Thought it was pipes, but it was too regular, like someone tapping to be let out. I told Gran, she frowned, checked the door, locked, and said it was the house settling. Pop agreed, but he started locking his bedroom door at night, something he'd never done. The knocks got louder, more frequent, sometimes at 2 a.m., waking me up. I'd creep to the hall, see the door shaking in its frame, like something was pushing it. Once, I heard a voice, gruff, muffled, saying, "Open it." I ran to Gran's room, but when we checked, the door was still, deadbolt firm. She prayed over me that night, clutching her rosary, which wasn't like her. By August, I was scared to be alone in the house. Gran started staying home more. Pop took shorter shifts, but it didn't help. The door would creak open an inch. No one touching it, then slam shut when we looked. Pop nailed it shut, muttering about damn drafts, but the knocks kept coming, harder, splintering the wood. I found scratches on the outside, deep, like claw marks, but we didn't have pets. One night, I couldn't take it. Pop was at the bar, Gran asleep, and the knocking wouldn't stop, pounding now, like fists. I grabbed Pop's flashlight, a hammer from his toolbox, and stood by the door. It went quiet, then a whisper, clear, right through the wood, "Let me in, kid." My hands shook, but I swung the hammer, hit the deadbolt, just to feel brave. The door flew open, not inward, outward, knocking me flat. Steps led down, black as tar, and something moved, a shape, big, hunched, crawling up. It laughed, low and wet, and I scrambled back, screaming. Gran woke, yanked me away, and Pop boarded the door for good. No nails, actual planks. We moved that fall, left everything in the basement. I looked up the house later, sold cheap in '79 after a tenant vanished. Neighbors said he'd lived down there, hoarding junk, talking to friends no one saw. I still hear knocks at night, faint, like they're waiting for me to open something. What was it?